listen, I want to start with congrats on making one of the best films I've seen this year. I love this movie, and I have a lot of questions, but I like throwing a curveball to start things off. If someone has actually never seen anything that either of you have done before, what is the first thing you want them watching and why?
I've had four experiences, I think. Tár being top of the list. And then I played Blanche Dubois on stage, directed by Liv Ullmann, which was kind of life-changing. And most of them have been on stage, actually. And working with the other Todd Field on playing Bob Dylan. You know, these asks that directors make of you that you can't even imagine what the experience is going to be. But I don't, not just because we're here talking about it, but I would have to say Tár, because my experience as before I was even involved in the project of reading the script is I'd never read anything like it. And I think the film that Todd has made is unlike any other film that I've ever seen. What about you?
Wow.
In the third grade.
In eighth grade, I had this video project. No, I feel the same. I haven't had this kind of collaboration. And yeah, this has been like anything I've ever been involved in before. I would say Tár. I've never gone back and looked at any films that I've ever worked on in any capacity. And it's been a very long time since I've made a film, but even so, I can tell you with a straight face, it would be Tár.
Yeah, I can't say enough positive things. Todd, I read that you were writing this with Cate in mind. At what point did you find out, Cate, that he was writing this, and what would have honestly happened had she said no?
Just right now. I didn't, fortunately, I didn't know that when we were working together. There was so much to do, and the conversation was so rich that it was literally like the gate opened and we just went for it. Yeah. So we didn't, I just right now.
Is that, you're being sincere?
No, today. I mean, just today. Yeah.
No. I mean, yes, I wrote it. I didn't write it with Cate in mind. I wrote it for Cate. I didn't tell her I was writing it. Cate and I had met about 10 years ago to talk about a project that a script that I had been working on with Joan Didion for a while, and that film didn't come together. And I'd never thought of an actor before writing, but I knew based on that meeting, outside of Cate's work as an artist, just out of that meeting, out of that conversation, that was a kind of collaboration I was really desperate to have, and that's why, in answer to your question, what would you have people look at? This is probably this was an extraordinary conversation to have with an artist like Cate, and it was a conversation that had to do about us asking questions. Yeah, we were each asking questions about very, very similar things, and trying to figure out if there was an intelligent way to answer those questions. So that's a long digressive way of saying, yes, I wrote it for Cate. And had she not done it, yes, I wouldn't have made the film.
There are so many scenes in this movie that I would like to dissect with the two of you because they're so striking and incredible. But one sequence in particular was, and this is not earlier in the film, is where you are teaching the students. And it's a long, if I remember correctly, it's a oner where the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And where the camera is following your performance, going to different positions. You are delivering an incredible amount of dialogue that is very complicated. Can you both talk a little bit about pulling off that scene? Because as I was watching it, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing on screen.
Well, hopefully you're not aware that it's a oner. I mean, there's all kinds of oners. There's oners that are really bravado, kind of sort of like Goodfellas going into the Copa, or the beginning of Boogie Nights, or Rope, or Touch of Evil kind of thing.
Or the player,
or the player, and then there's ones like at the beginning of like Code Unknown, where you're about halfway through until you realize it's a oner. And it wasn't that it had to be a oner. It was, it was important that we always feel like we're with her, and that we feel like we're with her at every possible moment. And the idea of what needs to be accomplished, or what one would hope would be accomplished in the execution of that scene, the idea of giving anyone any control other than Cate seemed antithetical to what that scene was about. So you know, there was a certain point where I said to Florian Hofmeister, our cinematographer, I said, we were out scouting last summer, and I said, it has to be a oneer, but I don't know how to do it. We can't, technically it's almost impossible. We can't do it with the Steadicam, we can't do it with the crane, we can't do it with all these things. And so we started to talk about a way that we might be able to do it. But the first thing was I had to convince Cate that this was a good idea. And I remember we pulled over on the side of the road, and I called her up.
And then, whenever Todd delivers bad news, he always says, Cate, here's the thing. And so whenever he starts with here's the thing, I'll go, okay, what is it?
Well, no, but Cate said immediately, like, she didn't even, like, not even 1 second. I said, we have to do it as a oneer. And Cate said, well, you can't do it as oneer. I said, why? She says, well, because the leg, she has to see the leg. And I said, no, we can figure out how to get to the leg. And so that was it. So we rehearsed, Cate and I went in alone, and we blocked that scene together. And then we brought the crew in, and we blocked it for the crew and adjusted, and then we shot it for 2 full days.
Because we'd get through it. I think the first time we did it, we got all the way through, and then something happened with the mechanics of the camera. It was no one's fault, and it just flipped off, so we couldn't.
Well, it may have been someone's fault,
but no.
But yeah, the very first take actually was perfect until the very last moment, and then we had spent sort of 2 days sort of chasing that. But that's it's a scene where we have to. It was important that she's in control of that entire scene, and it's a scene that was sort of the beginning of the script for me. Was that scene? That's the first scene that I wrote, and I wrote it and rewrote it for probably 4 months, and it was a scene. You know, I'm always haunted by that question when somebody says to you, if you could go back and talk to your younger self, what would you say? And for me, that's what that scene is about. It's about this character who's at a very particular point in her life where she's done a lot of experimenting, and she's pushed the boundaries, and she's at a very kind of conservative place at this point in her life. But if she were talking to her 24-year-old self or 25-year-old self, what would she say? And very much this character of Max, you know, could have been Lydia, there by the grace of God go I, at 25, when she graduated from Harvard, wanting to do the same thing that she's telling Max not to do, you know, doing experimental music, doing atonal music, you know, maybe poo-pooing the sort of German Austro canon, but that's not where she is now, you know. So it's a there's a real reckoning with this character, you know. She makes 4 valiant attempts to try to bring him on side, and then she can't keep her powder dry anymore, you know. And that's a real failure for her. She sees that as a real defeat. I think. I mean, you probably have other feelings about that.
No, yeah.
Oh, I got to stop. I was going to see if you had anything else, but I just want to thank you so much.
I have nothing.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It was a very long.
No.
No. I just want to say thank you so much for making the movie. It's incredible. I wish you guys nothing but the best.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.